Some moves in Foxborough may look small to people on the outside, but inside that building, they are loud. The Patriots came out of the draft making a serious bet on a receiver almost nobody saw coming. They added a tough, hard-nosed tight end who can bring some bite back to the run game. They left a huge clue around a possible star trade, and they created real pressure on the offensive line pecking order. This feels like a plan with aggression behind it, not just random roster noise. Hit that like button because today there is a lot for Patriots fans to read into, and every detail matters here. Now hang with me because this Kyle Dixon signing is the type of move that separates a lazy front office from one that is digging through every corner of the football map. Dixon did not come from the NCAA. He came from Culver Stockton College, an NAIA program. A lot of people are going to laugh at that right away. Me? I see a different question behind the scenes. Why did the Patriots give more than $250,000 guaranteed to an undrafted player most of the league barely had on its radar? That is where this gets interesting. Dixon showed up at Missouri's Pro Day and really made noise. 6'2", almost 220 pounds, with a 40.5-inch vertical. That is not just a cute note for a scouting sheet. That is explosion. That is size. That is reach. That is athletic material that makes a coach stop the tape, rewind it, and watch the play again. And when you put production next to those traits, the move stops looking strange and starts looking aggressive. Last season, he caught 83 passes for 1,282 yards and 12 touchdowns. The year before, he scored 12 more touchdowns. For his career, he finished with 143 catches, 2,394 yards, and 24 touchdowns. Yes, the jump in competition is massive. Nobody is acting like dominating NAIA defenders is the same thing as separating from NFL corners in Foxborough, in a packed training camp, with real contact, a thick playbook, and every single rep being graded. But that is exactly why the guaranteed money matters. The Patriots are not treating Dixon like some random camp body who just fills out a roster sheet. They paid to make sure he gets into the building, goes through the process, gets tested, and does not quietly slide away to another team. And I will say this as a fan. I like this kind of bet when there is real logic behind it. The receiver room is crowded. His path to the 53-man roster is steep. Maybe the most realistic starting point is the practice squad. But in a real rebuild, you need to find one or two players who did not come through the obvious front door. If Dixon can translate that size, that bounce, and that production to the pro level, New England may have found an unexpected battle inside a position group everybody thought they already had figured out. And if the Kyle Dixon move feels like a hidden explosion bet, Tanner Arkin is almost the total opposite. This is a hard hat signing, low pads, dirty shoulders, coaching staff meeting type of move. This is not the kind of name that makes fans grab their phones and search for deep ball highlights. Arkin had only 351 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns across 5 college seasons. He started at Colorado State, transferred to Illinois, became a team captain in each of his final 2 years, and that changes the conversation. Because being a captain in a Big Ten program is not some empty label. You do not earn that kind of respect unless you bring work, toughness, presence, and trust inside the building. And that is where this starts to feel very Patriots. New England already has Hunter Henry as the top name in that tight end room. Julian Hill came in through free agency. Eli Raridon was a third-round pick, so there is obviously real investment there. Arkin is not walking through the front door with a red carpet waiting for him. He is coming through the side door with one clear job: block. Mark Daniels of Mass Live pointed out that Arkin is a blocking tight end who earned a 79.5 run blocking grade from Pro Football Focus. If all you care about is receiving numbers, that may sound small, but if you understand how offenses are actually built, that can be a real piece. Because the Patriots cannot keep living with Drake Maye having to save broken plays all the time. Enough of that. If this franchise wants to rebuild the right way, it has to give its quarterback an offense with weight, rhythm, and attitude in the run game. It needs heavy looks that do not tip the play before the snap. It needs tight ends who can hold the edge, create angles for the running back, help the tackle, and turn 2nd and 7 into 2nd and 3. That does not always make the highlight package, but it absolutely shows up on the scoreboard in the fourth quarter. His fight is probably with CJ Dupree for a practice squad spot, maybe for a developmental role, and that is fine. Not every post-draft signing has to be sold like some miracle discovery. Sometimes the value is bringing in a player who raises the physical level of camp and forces the whole room to compete in an area the team wants to rebuild. Arkin represents that. Less flash, more force. Less fantasy, more foundation. And honestly, after years of watching the Patriots offense lose its identity in big moments, I am not laughing at a tight end who comes in ready to block. I am paying attention, And I think the coaching staff is too. Now, if you want to feel where the noise gets heavier, look at what the Patriots did not do in the draft. Sometimes the loudest signal is not in the player they picked. It is in the hole they chose not to fill. New England came out of the draft without adding a wide receiver to the depth chart, even though everybody knows Drake Maye needs more firepower around him. And when that happens while the A.J. Brown rumors keep circling back to New England, you cannot just act like it is some harmless coincidence. The Brown and Eagles conversation feels like it has one real road right now: the Patriots. And I know, if you have been around this fan base long enough, you are careful. Foxborough has seen plenty of pretty rumors fade into silence. But this one has enough logic that it should make even the skeptics uncomfortable. Philadelphia would have a financial incentive to wait until after June 1 to move Brown and reduce some of the cost of a trade. So if New England believes that door could open, it makes sense not to spend draft capital just to patch a position that might get a massive upgrade a few weeks later. And Brown would not be a luxury. He would be a statement. A receiver at that level changes Drake Maye's life immediately. He wins with physicality. He attacks the middle of the field. He punishes single coverage. He pulls safety attention. He gives the offense an identity. And he fits nicely with Romeo Doubs as part of a more mature, more dangerous, harder to defend receiver room. That is exactly the kind of move a team makes when it wants to stop asking fans for patience and start demanding respect. But the price is going to hurt. ESPN's Mike Reese brought up an important angle. The Eagles could ask for a first-round pick, maybe even a 2028 first, or a conditional pick tied to Brown hitting performance marks. From the Patriots side, the Stephon Diggs trade to Houston, with a second-rounder as the main chip, becomes part of the negotiation. And that is where Eliot has to be ice cold. Being aggressive does not mean emptying the vault without a plan. It means knowing when the opportunity is big enough to step in hard, but not desperate. I want to hear from the fan base on this one. If the price lands somewhere between a conditional first and a package built around a second-round pick, how far would you go for A.J. Brown? Because to me, the message is getting pretty clear. The Patriots are not just watching the market, they are positioning themselves. And when a rebuilding team leaves that kind of space open, maybe it is because it sees a big piece coming around the corner. And now we get to the part that might make fans the most uneasy. Because this is not just about talent, this is about pride, major investment, and an offensive line hierarchy that could get uncomfortable fast. The Patriots used their 2025 first-round pick on Will Campbell with the idea that he could become the franchise left tackle. Now, in 2026, they trade up 3 spots and take Caleb Lomu, the final tackle projected to go in the first round. The easy read is simple. Succession plan on the right side, with Morgan Moses entering the season at 35 years old. Lomu learns, Moses holds the job, and the team has its future plan ready. But football almost never follows a clean little script. Lomu played almost exclusively left tackle in college, and based on what people are saying about the tape, he looks comfortable protecting the blind side. So the question starts growing behind the scenes. If Lomu looks better on the left than expected, will the Patriots really keep Campbell there just because that was the original plan? I will defend Campbell, but I am not going to ignore what has to be said. After the injury, he did not finish the season at the same level he had shown before. And when Drake Maye struggled in that Super Bowl loss to the Seahawks, the protection had its share of responsibility. That does not erase Campbell's talent. It does not destroy the project. It does not turn a young tackle into a finished problem. But it does bring back an old debate, the arm length concerns, the idea that he might fit better at guard, and the possibility that he could be more effective somewhere else on the line. On the other side, there is an ideal scenario every Patriots fan should be rooting for. Campbell locks down left tackle, Lomu transitions to the right side, Moses becomes a luxury mentor, and Maye spends years playing behind a young, powerful, well-coached wall. That is the dream. But if Campbell struggles and Lomu impresses on the left side, Mike Vrabel and Eliot are going to face a serious choice. Moving things around would not be some random August experiment. It would mean admitting the best lineup might not be the most politically comfortable one. And you know what? I would rather have a Patriots team willing to rethink its own convictions than one trapped by stubbornness. The only untouchable piece in this conversation should be Drake Maye's future. Whoever protects him best plays. At the end of the day, the message is simple. The Patriots are not building a roster to please headlines. They are trying to buy margin. Dixon is the athletic bet nobody saw coming. Arkin is the concrete block meant to bring violence back to the offense. A.J. Brown is the expensive dream that could speed up Drake Maye's timeline. And Lomu puts everyone on the offensive line on alert, including Campbell. I like that tension. Comfortable teams do not grow. Pressured teams reveal who deserves to stay. If you want Foxborough coverage with no filter, real accountability, and real passion, subscribe to the channel, because this rebuild is getting serious.